Kutoka vijijini, mijini hadi jijini. Hii ni Sound Country Talk Live.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen. We are glad you're watching. Thank you so much for making time to join us. This is Sound Country Talk, open forum political discussion show, the show that gives you an opportunity to air what you feel and think about the latest development on our political front. Well, the former Chief Justice, that is Chief Justice Emeritus David Maraga, seems to be pointing out on the consideration to run for the presidency come next general elections. It is becoming clearer that he may be heading in that direction or hinting in that particular direction. And so tonight we'll be looking at, is he viable? Will Kenyans support his bid, or they will go for the usual used seasoned politicians that they would rather prefer than Maraga? We would want to know your opinion on the same, and that is why it forms the opinion question tonight on in your thinking and in your opinion, does CJ Emeritus Maraga stand a chance in winning Kenya's presidency in the next general election? What is your take? Respond to the question in our two channels, Sound Country Talk and Sound Country Talk Live YouTube channels. We are also live on Facebook, Sound Country Talk, and TikTok, Sound Country Talk. Thank you so much for being part of the conversation. While we are looking at the Maraga consideration for running for the presidency, and we'll look at that on the wider spectrum among other people who have indicated their interest. We won't forget Matiang'i is in the race. Kalonzo says he's in the race. And Morara is another one. And then, of course, you can see also the campaigning of the people who have indicated interest into the presidency by the government bloggers who are out to mar everybody and raise question mark on everyone that tries to challenge William Ruto for the presidency. It appears that they can't deny the excellence of the other candidates other than raising up question marks and painting them in wrong light, which in my opinion is one of the letdown of this generation and of course this generation's politics. Instead of us now competing on competence and of course sound experience and to look for reliable hands that Kenyans are safe, we are busy painting each other in bad light so that Kenyans can be confused on who to pick on. And of course, they would want Kenyans to land on the wrong man. Very sad, but that is the reality of our politics. We are trying to sanitize it and hope that we will come to our senses in good time. While we are looking at all these, there is another happening that is very disturbing, and that is the murder of a patient in Kenyatta National Hospital. The story coming from there is very, very alarming, that the National Referral Hospital, the #1 National Referral Hospital with all the securities in place, nobody can tell what went down by the murder of a patient that was in the same room with other 50 patients. So, and of course with the standby nurses. So it's a confusing story. We want to look at it from our security, whatever perspective. If patients are not safe in hospital, are pedestrians safe on the street? Are tenants safe in the whole different plots around town? What's happening with our country? Why are we having all this manner of things happening? Are we falling apart as a country or what? So we'll be looking at that. And then, of course, there is also the issue with the ODM leadership, where there are those who feel that the Secretary General Sifuna is biting too hard against the William Ruto administration. And so there are those who feel that the collaboration of ODM with the UDA or Kenya Kwanza requires that he goes slow. But the nuclear leadership of ODM are saying we don't have any official agreement of collaborating with the UDA. The donation of the so-called experts, that is how far it has gone. And so everything else being claimed that ODM is in government and needs to be singing and praising the government. You see, that is not what ODM stands for. And so Sifuna is in his right space and capacity to do what he's doing and say what he's saying. And one of the deputy party leaders, Godfrey Soti, came out clearly and says what Sifuna is saying is the mind of Baba, is the mind of the core leadership of ODM. And so the talks on the street by other non-officials or some expelled members or former members of ODM should not be judged as a direction for the party. But all in all, ODM is coming of age, that is, they will be launching out their celebration of 20 years in existence. And so the celebrations are on, as well as Death with Destiny, as Raila Odinga goes for the AUC seat. The voting is this coming Saturday. And so mbivu na mbichi inakwenda kujulikana wiki hii tu. Kwa hivyo kila mtu ajitahidi, tunamwombea baba afanikiwe katika azimio hilo. Na kama mnavyojua, uongozi wa baba unajulikana dunia nzima katika uamuzi wake na katika kutekeleza haki kwa wengi. Kwa hivyo tunapoomba kwamba afanikiwe, naamini kwamba utasema amen, na kama utasema la, hiyo pia iko sawa, kwa sababu kuna mtu ameandika article leo anasema baba ni hatari sana kila mahali anakwenda, haswa kwa wale ambao hawampendi. Okay, akishirikiana na Uhuru anakataliwa, akishirikiana na Ruto anakataliwa, akishirikiana na Kibaki anakataliwa. So lakini akisema anataka kwenda EU tena anasema hapana, asiende. So ni kipi hiki mnataka mzee afanye? Asifanye chochote, akiongea matatizo, asipoongea matatizo. Lakini tunaamini kwamba ukweli wa mambo utajulikana, na kwangu mimi mafanikio yako hayazuia kwangu, na kuanguka kwangu akusaidii kufanikiwa kwako. Kama unajenga kufanikiwa kwako kwa kuanguka kwangu, ama mimi nijenge mafanikio yangu kwa kuanguka kwako, basi tumekosea mahesabu. Kila mmoja wetu alikuja katika dunia hii peke yake, na ako na hatima yake katika Mungu, na baraka zake usizilalie mlango wazi. Ya kwangu ni yangu tu na ya kwako ni yako tu, so hakuna haja ya kutakiana maovu na kuombeana mabaya. Kama sio yako utapata, kama ni yangu nitaipata tu, hata ukisema sitapata. So relax, let's focus and do what we must do. Okay, let's look at this. Maraga and the bid for the presidency, a very interesting story. Then of course hiyo masuala ya Kenyatta Hospital inakera sana, haswa hilo tungependa kulizamia kwa njia ya haki. I mean hospital, national hospital, bitakuwaje mtu wawe kwa hospitalini hivyo, na I mean hakuna masuala ambayo yanaonyesha kwamba hii ndio ilifanyika. Hata mazungumzo ya CEO yaridhishi. Well, let's start with that story of course Kenyatta Hospital, alafu tutarejelea swala la Maraga, and then tuendelee na uchambuzi wa masuala ya ODM na vyama vingine. Tunapoanza, tafadhali karibisha mtu. I can see 24 people joining. Please, let's get more people to join. Sound Candy Talk YouTube channel, Sound Candy Talk Live YouTube channel, and Sound Candy Talk Facebook page, as well as TikTok. Thank you so much for joining. Appreciate those joining on the comment section. Thank you so much for being part and parcel of the conversation. Nekta Nyabane, karibu kwa show. Peter Davis, thank you. He says, Maraga, he has retired after attaining the age of 70. We have younger people like you and me who can vie. And I agree with you. We have young people who can vie, but that does not need us to stop the elders from vying. We compete among ourselves. If Kenyan says the younger, let the young carry the day. If the Kenyan say penye wazee havaribiki neno, wapatie mzee, basi ndio hivyo. Lakini kuzuia wengine waseme hao wazuiwe ndio sisi tupate, basi hapo tutakuwa tunakosea mahesabu. Kitonga, karibu kwa show, asante sana. Felistas Makungu, thank you so much for joining, long time. This issue of KNH is disturbing and should not be taken lightly. Patients are really threatened with this. It is so sad. I agree with you. Afrabad, thank you so much for joining. Tunim Hamud, our PS, we appreciate your presence. Karibu sana. Naomba basi tukaanze na hiyo story ya Kenyatta, kisha tuzamie hapa. Naona mama shafika. Kama unakuja studio, tafadhali wahi mapema. Nataka leo tusikawie sana, lakini lazima tungamue mambo yote ipasavyo. Thank you very much. Let's keep going.
Tonight is Damian Evans. Now, after days of mounting speculation and public outrage, Kenyatta National Hospital management has finally addressed the shocking murder of 39-year-old Gilbert Kinyua within its facility on Friday. The incident has raised serious concerns about patient safety and hospital security. As our reporter Vera Moran now details, 4 nurses were on duty when Kinyua was murdered while his ward had 54 patients.
Despite 24-hour security checks, police officers stationed at the facility and a police post nearby, KNH is now grappling with tough questions about the murder of a patient, 39-year-old Gilbert Kinyua, that occurred under its roof.
Mr. Kinyua was found with his face covered with a blood-stained sheet. Upon the nurse uncovering to check on him, the nurse discovered that this person was motionless. We actually do not have evidence that anybody walked in and committed a crime, and committed the said crime. We know for a fact that the patient was murdered in the ward.
3 days after the gruesome murder, Ward 7B remains a crime scene. The hospital's management is trying to piece together Kinyua's final hours. Questions persist. Who was on duty? How many people were in the ward? When was the last check on Kinyua before his lifeless body was found at 6 a.m.?
There are 4 nurses on duty. There is 1 station in the ward. The shape of the ward is L-shaped. When you go in, you can see the nurse's desk from the entrance. From where the nurses sit, they can see this corridor and this corridor. And that is where they manage the ward from.
KNH claims the patient was under close observation, with nurses reportedly checking on him at 9 p.m., midnight, and 3 a.m. However, between 3 a.m. and 6 a.m., something went horribly wrong. Was this an inside job, or did someone access the ward unnoticed?
Let me state that at this point in time, we actually do not have evidence that anybody walked in and committed a crime, and committed the said crime. We know for a fact that the patient was murdered in the ward. We've handed over the matter to the DCI. There is every chance that this person did not walk in the manner you've described.
Given Kinyua's condition as a tube-fed patient, critical questions remain unanswered. Did anyone hear a commotion, struggle, or call for help? Even fellow patients in the ward remain silent on any unusual events.
Yeah, we had about 54 patients on the night. At the same time, the nurses respond to patient calls. And as I said earlier, these are patients with nervous system disorders, meaning that a good number of them are in total nursing care and they need to be changed and to be fed and to be turned.
A post-mortem is set to be conducted as investigations continue. Kinyua, a father of two, now lives behind a grieving family, desperate for justice.
With the Kenyatta National Hospital now under intense scrutiny, the quest for answers continue, with 39-year-old Gilbert Kinyua's family seeking for justice. Vera Mora, KTN.
Well, that's a story we'll continue following up for you.
Ladies and gentlemen, hivyo ndivyo mambo yalivyo kutoka Kenyatta Hospital ya mauaji ambayo yametekelezwa kwa mgonjwa ambaye amelazwa huko. Ni kipi kinachoendelea katika nchi yetu? Karibu utoe maoni yako. Mami, habari ya leo?
Penat, sasa hii ni kusema pole sana. How did somebody go in 54 pets hata kama wako total? Mali tunafanya Penat hata kama watu ni total wanaona. So I think it is inside job. Again, hata kabla mujasema aliuawa, I think the best thing again ni kujua alikuwa uhusiano aje na familia yake, watu wake wa karibu, because somebody cannot work from outside yenye si familia na mtu. Alafu Bernard, kama wagonjwa kama yeye anasikia ni tube, mtu analishwa na tube. Wagonjwa wengi wenye wako na hali mahututi namna hiyo wanaruhusu one member of family kukua within. So hospitali chenye wanataka kufanya ama TCI, kwanza tangu alilaswa hospitali, who are those close people? Wale walikuwa nakuja kuona. Kwa sababu na kama si hivyo, kuna mtu alihusika. Unajua Penat, ukiwa na wagonjwa nakumbuka unaambia mtu kwa sababu kwa hapa uniangalilie mgonjwa yangu, ama sijui mgonjwa wangu nipigie simu, something like that. Na tumekuwa tukifanya sana. Ukiona patient wamekaa, unaangalia kama kuna watu wawili familia, unamwambia mimi leo siko, ama in case mgonjwa yangu you know. So hiyo ndiye uchunguzi inatakikana ifanywe. And of course the 4 nurses, kama kila kitu ilikuwa mzuri from, wamesema hii jambo imefanyika 3 to 6. Kuna watu wanafanya kazi over shift Penat kama ni huku kwetu. na mostly nurses wanakuwa 7 to 7 in the morning. Haya, kuna wakati hiyo time ya 3 to 6, hapo ndio wakati critical. Saa zingine unapata hata nurses wamedoze, unapata wengine wameingia, ama kama watu 54 wamekuwa mbali. Unajua ward ni kubwa, so wanaweza kuwa uko front wakianza wakirudi nyuma, so inategemea. This patient was in the middle, this patient was karibu na mlango. Hiyo ndio vitu wanastahili kujua, sababu kama mimi sisi yenye tumefanya kazi na tumejua hivyo, unaona strategy. Amesema ukifungua mlango unaona, but inategemea where the patient was. Was he in the middle? Alikuwa na kitanda yenye mtu anaweza ingia na asione. So kwanza hiyo ni pole sana kwa jamii, na hata hiyo jamii pia that's a young man, yani hata unashindwa. Somebody was trying to cover something, but mgonjwa amelishwa kwa tube, ni mtu amekonjeka, si ugonjwa ya imekuwa rahisi. Kitambo ufika hapo, na vile unaona mwili yake Bernard, it was ni ugonjwa imekaa yenye sasa you don't know mtu alitaka nini. Alimaliza mtu kama hiyo ndiye asiendelee kulipa bill, ama alikuwa na pesa. You know, there is a lot we need to understand, kwa sababu mgonjwa yenye unamwona ako sawa, unaweza fikiria mtu ameua kwa sababu ya lengo fulani, lakini a patient like that alikuwa na Mungu wake, analishwa na tube. Huku kwetu mahali tuko, tunaona watoto wanakuja hospitali wanasema tumechoka na wasasi, wanaongelesha wasasi, wanamwambia it is your time to go. Tena tunaokopa, wanakuja wana sign, ama yani like hiyo mambo ya huko hata hatuwezi ongea. Unaona watoto wanaona baba ama nini msasi, pesa iko mingi, hawataki itumike tena. Mtu anaandika na anakuambia familia yangu wachakuja, or they don't want me, na unakuta watu wanaandika wanasema wanataka kwenda. So hiyo ni mambo yenye iko dunia hii, ya kwamba si kama nyumbani fenye watu wako na responsibility ya kuchunga wasasi ama wagonjwa yao. Watu wengi huko wametubwa tu, lakini serikali ya huko inachunga watu yake. So nawachia hiyo hapo, lakini tunasema pole. And now the safety of other patients. Na hata kama kuna mtu aliona, anaweza okopa juu jui nani alifanya hiyo kitendo. Maybe ni watu wako within. Hiyo tunawachia hapo. Nasikia mtu anaongea kuhusu Maraga akiwa 70. Mahali sisi tuko tunaambia age at the numbers. Ukiwa na akili timamu Bernard, bado unaweza fanya kazi. Na uongozi tumesema ni quality ya leadership, kama uko na mwito. So tukiweka vijana vile wamekuwa, kwa sababu kwa nini tunarudi kusema wasee, and in our leadership as of today Bernard, tuko na young people, what have they done to us? President yenye ako sahi is not old man, yeye ako kwa hii group kidogo. Uhuru was there, he was young. So apart from Kibaki, Moi na Kenyatta and members of parliament of those days, now we have the youngest like Salashas and another member of parliament, was he from Meru? We have these young people. So ukichaguliwa kama MCA as a young man, ama member of parliament, or even governor, what have you done? And because you are young, so that tunakataa kuchakua watu wase. We have also members of parliament wale wako matured, tuko na wase, kasi yao iko aje. So mambo ya kusema mtu ni mse atutaki huyu, hiyo Bernard, I don't think it is. Hiyo ndio the same mistake wanafanya. Ya mwisho Bernard, and nimeona ODM today walikuwa Kakamega, and I see the leadership. I compare what Munyoro was talking to Western. Na nikaona kumbe nyumba ya ODM ni ya Western, by the way. I think the Luos are the second, kwa sababu kulingana na yale program niliona, wingi wa watu na vile watu wamechipanga penat, from the delegates to the leadership, you see it is a party. Na watu, na kweli kulikuwa na members wengine wanauliza swali, but I was happy kwa sababu party inaongea one thing. A secretary general of a party is a spokesperson of a party. Kuna mambo inatolewa na chairman, kuna mambo inatolewa na party leader, na hata wakati party leader na chairman wako kwa mkutano, mostly statement, that is the work of a secretary general. Na kwa sababu sisi wa Kenya tumejaribu hayo mambo inakuja penat, ni sisi tulijaribu kusukumia ODM. You know, mumeingia serikali, munafanya kazi na Ruda, sasa ODM ikijisema, kuna wale wanasema hiyo ni mambo ya Sifuna, kuna wale wanasema baba amesema hii, lakini kulingana na vile hata Sifuna amesema mbele ya baba, kama siku ile alikuwa Kisumu, alisema baba, uliniambia na mimi nafanya yale uliniambia, na si kuona mtu anamchibu, but we are happy today we know the position of the party. I was also happy kuona members of inaitwa TPA ama inaitwa nini ya Wamalwa. There were 3 members of parliament.
Yes, DAP. They are mostly likely Western inakuja. Nilisikia hata Otsotsi akisema tumeambiwa Waluya tunakawanyana, but nyumba yetu, our big home, our house is ODM. Na nikaona those members of TPA waliambia wenzao, be strong, we are out there coming. So hiyo ni mambo ya ODM na msimamo ya mambo hii imetokea kotini. And again, Bernard, nikaona Kalonzo huko Kwale, was it Kwale or Kilifi? Kalonzo alituambia Azimio is dead. Kwa nini watu wanakuwa na double standard, Bernard? Tena leo anasema amepigia simu Raila, amepigia simu Uhuru. Na Kalonzo mwenyewe alituambia baba ajaisema Azimio imeisha. Utani correct if I'm wrong. Lakini wenye wameshout Azimio hakuna ni Kalonzo and the rest. My party leader Martha Karua alisema confusion na akajitoa, akafanya mambo yake. But these other ones, sasa vile mambo imepatikana, why are you calling Raila? Umeita Raila, umemuita machina mingi, wishing even him. Yani inasemekana hata adui yako pena sometime tunaambiwa ombea adui yako aishi siku mingi, hili wakati unapobarikiwa aishi akiona. Of which I thought Kalonzo was, as a Christian, angekuwa hata basi, angeombea huyu baba maisha marefu, aishi siku mingi, apate yala anataka, hili wakati Kalonzo anapobarikiwa akikuja kukua president, baba aone. But now, kama kitu imetokea because you know ODM at the majority, you want to tell us we have Azimio. Those are leaders we don't need penalty. Tunataka msimamo. If something is wrong. Kama wewe umetoka, toka. Pana kuwa kama mwanamke anaenda huko nje anasema sitaki bwana yangu, akimwona na bibi ingine anaenda kuchapa anasema unachukua bwana yangu, and you are not there. Kalonzo, where are you? You have your party, mumeshikana na Rikichi. Now, unaona tena
matunda inapatikana huku nyuma, unataka kurudi. Hey, Bernard, watermelon. Hey, ni ukweli. We have watermelons for real. Otherwise, it is 10 days tunangoja, na naona leadership ya ODM wengi nilisikia moja, wengi ni kama wanaenda. And then again, Bernard, on 28 tuliambiwa na ODM today, Anyang' Nyong'o na chairperson, baba kwenda Addis Ababa, ODM hawana shida. Baba akifaulu, ako still ODM and it is still their party chairman, ni leader yao. Pia akirudi nyumbani, kwa sababu walisema hata wakaambiwa, tunajua hata nyinyi wengi hapa mungetaka baba asiende, kwa sababu kuna watu Bernard, they don't know how they will be elected bila baba. Unajua kuna watu wajui kujifanyia campaign Bernard. How will you do it without baba? Utaambia wananchi unipigie kura, naenda kuchunga baba aje, and baba is not there. So a lot of people outside ODM and Kenya, they don't know. Kuna watu pia watachakuliwa aje pila mkoroki, kuita ile msee, tunaenda kufukuza ule msee. So munichakue kwa sababu naenda punge kusuia ule msee. So in ODM, outside ODM, there are people they don't know how they will be elected, kwa sababu hawana matusi. Unachakuliwa kwa sababu uko champion, unatusi Raila. Now kuna wewe pia uko ODM ama uko friendly party ya ODM, unachakuliwa ukienda kulia ati unaenda kuchunga papa. So election ya 2027, ndio wale wanapenda baba atakuwa Addis Ababa, atapeana direction kama elder. Wewe kwenyu baba yako kama batu wako uwai, hata kama muko bishop wangapi, but batu munarudi nyumbani, munachukua hekima ya msee because he is still alive. Na kama baba hayuko, kuna mnduku ya baba. Hakunanga vile ati hata nyinyi ni wasomi na munakataa kusikia mambo ya jamii ama ukoo. So mambo ya baba tunamwombea on 15, na nashukuru Mungu kwa sababu Addis Ababa nilisikia Hamisi, member of parliament for Trans Nzoia, I think so, aliongea kuhusu internet na hao vijana na hiyo mabarua wameandika. So kila kitu inajulikana. But nasema kama ODM wangekuwa na uoga Bernard, awangeendelea na mkutano yao ya 28, wange postpone wakichua mambo si poa, lakini walikuwa wamepanga mambo yao na wanaenda na ratiba ya mambo yao, na wakasema they will have a big celebration because it is 20 years of ODM. So Bernard, tunaomba Mungu, naona wamefunga, kuna wale wameanza maombi. I was thinking, hata mimi nilishangaa mkutano ya Kakamega, niliona picha nikafikiria, nikangoja kuona baba, sioni. Nikaona tena statement nyingine Kalonzo anatoa, naona picha ya baba ndiye iko mbele. Hii Raila, amwezi kuwa na mkutano yenyu pila picha ya huyu msee Raila Bernard. Kwa nini amutaki Azimio na any meeting? Unaona breaking news Azimio, unaona picha ya Raila, unakimbia kuona baba, unakuta hata hiyo kompyuta mkono inakataa tena juu wenye unaona hapo hakuna baba. So why use the name of Raila? Kwa nini tusione Kalonzo? Wachana na Martha Karua is not even there. Tuone Kalonzo, nani huyu Watangula, no, Wamalwa, Jeremia Kioni. Why are they using other people's pictures? Anyway, ni hayo tu Bernard. Nitaruti tena, but ya muhimu ni kwamba we are very shocked, and Maraga inategemea pia. Why are you talking of Maraga? Mumechukua anaitwa nani, Matiang'i. Mumeona supu ya Matiang'i ilunuliki. Tena mnataka kwenda confuse the two sons of Nyanza. Why Matiang'i anasimama wapi? Makara sasa anaitwa president na chama gani? Which other party is very weak? Enye anataka kutumia China ya mtu. So kutakuwa na Ruto, kutakuwa na Maraga, kutakuwa na Matiang'i. Na bado tuko na ODM, wametuambia ODM wamesema moja. Anasema ODM itasimama. Ruto atukuchi nyumba iliisha. UDA is no more. So nikasikia wakasema haya, kama unataka kusimama basi kuja nyumbani tuone kama tutakuosha, kumaanisha kama anataka kukuwa re-elected utaingia in majority party, of which I don't know. Hiyo ni maoni, nilisema yale nilisikia wakisema, but there is no UDA unless Ruto ataanza chama yake ama UDA itakuwa yake, atafute watu ya kushikana wa Kenya. Thank you, Bennett.
Thank you, Mama. We appreciate you for the good start and overview of all that has taken place today. And of course, the sad story of a patient dying in unclear circumstances right in the hospital, which is the National Referral Hospital. As we look into the politics around ODM becoming very interesting. Jomo Kenyatta Jr. hapa anasema Ruto ataachwa kama Moi 2002. Watch the space. Raila is playing a big game. Probably. Now, I would also want us to focus to kuelewa kwamba muda bado upo. Kama elections zitakuwa 2027, there is still a long time in between, and so all the people that are interested in the presidency will come and go. Remember, in the last elections, we had over 40. It is Chebukati who chased the candidates. We had over 40, I think 40 something people expressing their interest into the election. But Chebukati na ukora wake akafungia wengine wote nje, akabakisha wale wanne ambao logarithm yao na algorithm yao na rigging yao ya naitwa nani ya wizi wa kura ilikuwa imetengenezewa watu wanne, so wangeongeza mtu mwingine ingeharibu mipango yao. So what we are saying is that more people are going to come on, but we would pray and want that the will of the people of Kenya should prevail in matters deciding the leadership of this country. And so Maraga's interest, to me, is valid. He has a proven record in how he has stirred up the judiciary in the right direction, stood alone when everybody wanted him to bend. And so if we are looking for a man of character, we're looking for a man to depend on as far as leadership by the rule of law is concerned. I think Maraga stands a great chance to help this country better, given that chance of being president. Age notwithstanding, I don't know how old is Trump. Those people are talking about 70. Biden, these people are leading countries that are bigger than life, and of course, bigger economy and all that, and they're in their wee hours of their lives. So I think the issue of age notwithstanding, we should look for a man of character. And when it is character consideration, I think Maraga stands a better standing. There is also a view here, I think, by Helen, talking about Maraga should support Matiang'i he's entering the presidential race to split the Kisii votes. His talents should be best utilized as an IBC chair, where he requires wisdom that comes from age. Now, without necessarily picking up a quarrel, I would say that the Kisii vote, split or not split, is not enough to make one president. Let's just agree. So whether it is split or not, I don't think that would be a major blow to any. Having two Kisii people running for presidents will not be the first thing, will not be the first time. And this aspect of looking for who is spoiler, I don't think Maraga is in this for a spoiler, and I wouldn't. The closeness between Maraga and Matiang'i, I don't think will arrive there. One person will step down for another if both of them are considering to run for president. So the splitting of the vote of the Kisii people, I don't think so. That should not be a matter to look at. On the issue of chairman of IEBC, anybody can be chairman of IEBC. Okay, Maraga will play a better role as the chairman of IEBC, but when you look at the structure of IEBC and the way it operates, the chairman has very little in terms of ensuring how even the voting is done and how the outcome comes. You notice majority of the work is done by the secretariat. So the CEO has more powers in controlling the IEBC than the chairman of IEBC. And so Maraga being put there to be brought a piece of paper to announce, I think will be wasting him. His wisdom will serve better this country if he had, run an institution like the way he's run the judiciary. Running this country, I think he's given a chance, I'm sure he can deliver, especially right now when the country is being run and pushed away from constitutionalism. We need a leader who can bring Kenya back to the constitution and to the rule of law. And Maraga will do a better job for me. Based on his decisions at the judiciary, and of course, taking on hard decisions like consideration of dissolving of parliament for not meeting the 2/3 majority gender balance, and then of course that historical nullification of a presidential candidate and his influence on the judges, because the majority of the judges voted in favor of the nullification of the election. And to me, that is as a result of good leadership of Maraga, his influence to the rest of the judges. Unlike Madam Hot Air, she couldn't, chart the bench in the right direction, including the language to use to deliver judgment. Now, to me, Maraga weighs better in terms of influencing people rightly, and given a chance, I will give him my vote for a better Kenya that is ruled by the constitution, and that is all we need to safeguard every other person. So that a decision, I think, will be a better one for Kenya. And if he has to be at IEBC, then let him be the CEO. Let him take the CEO. The story ya chairman ya kupewa karatasi, hiyo hawapatia watu wengine. Maraga should be the CEO. Marijuana aonyeshwe njia ya kuondoka. Maraga apewe hiyo kazi, ili Maraga asimamie hiyo ICT, asimamie hiyo masuala yote ya procurement, kuhakikisha kwamba makaratasi yamechapishwa vizuri na kila kitu. Lakini kama yeye ni chairman tu wa kupewa report, no, that will be wasting him. Well, and let's hope that that plays out. But Kenyans will have the final say, I believe, and it will all depend on whether Kenyans favor his ticket or not. In my opinion, if we are looking for really leadership and we really want the country to recover, we should not ignore people like Maraga, who have demonstrated leadership. But if you want to experiment in the name of younger leaders, we have been experimenting from 2013. Have we made better progress from 2013 to till now? Until now? I don't think so. So this leadership of this country is neither young or old. It has everything to do with the character of the person that is placed in leadership. It is said that an army of sheep led by a lion can win against an army of lions led by a sheep. So give Kenya into the hands of a lion who will lead us into the right direction. Maraga has demonstrated to be a lion. Now, I'm not campaigning for Maraga. I'm just saying that Kenyans should consider people of character when we are looking at leadership, and not also the putting people in leadership for the fixing of this and that. Let's believe in character leadership from the MCA to the MP to the senator to the governors. Let's give leadership to the people of character who will have a safe country. But if we give leadership, we put one right person. Mnataka Maraga aende kusimamia IBC, ana msimamo, alafu mpatie wezi asimamie wezi na mnataka abadilishe. It doesn't work that way. And so let's ensure that only people with proper character are the ones that we are bringing into the position of leadership. And then of course hapa kuna swala ambalo Kenyatta Junior analileta ambalo kwangu mimi sikubaliani nalo. Katika mambo haya anasema Western Kenya is divided region with Mudavadi and Wetangula, and they are rich. The Mlembe people are Suvuma people. I don't know what that you mean, Vusuma people or Suvuma people. Once they get Vusuma, they forget everything and do necessary. I don't take that lightly. One is an insult. Secondly, if you want to judge politics properly, how many members of parliament does Mudavadi have? How many members of parliament does Wetangula have from Western? That shows you that Western people know what they want and know how to vote on who to be their leader. And so that aspect of Vusuma, I don't take that as a good compliment. It is an insult. It should not be the case. We vote for leadership. We don't vote follow everybody. If that was the case, Mudavadi should be having many members of parliament than ODM, and wherever Ford Kenya should be having many members of parliament than ODM, because ODM is led by someone who is not from Western Kenya. But the Western Kenya, I believe they are the most mature voters in terms of deciding leadership, not following a crowd of our region is going to vote to punish so-and-so and punish so-and-so. We vote majorly on the persuaded leadership that is demonstrated. That's the difference. If I could compare different regions, Western Kenya considers who can provide leadership, especially at the helm of leadership. You saw Ruto and Uhuru camped in Western all the time, but at the end of the day couldn't get 16%. If they were the people following Vusuma, apana, tafadhali, that statement should be withdrawn. Well, natetea chama changu, natetea jamii yangu. I don't think we follow ugali like we are being accused. We decide what needs to be done because, especially in the interest of the country, if it were self-seeking, I think we have enough numbers to fight and win against this country if we all say that we're going to fight as a community. But we forego most of the time in the interest of the country. And to me, that is mature, that is responsible, other than coming together to go and vote to punish somebody at the expense of the interest of the country. And what happens? We give the country a bad leadership. Bad leadership brings us problems. Then we begin to turn around and say, we were deceived, we were told this and that. No. This time around, let's look for people with character, people who have demonstrated character in their leadership. Sio mtu ambaye akona mdomo sijui anatuletanga mandazi, sijui anatupatianga nini. Tuangalie uongozi ambao unafaa. People who have been tested and proven. Don't give the leadership of this country to amateurs. Don't try it, because we are in a very critical place. A critical patient requires a seasoned, well-experienced doctor. You don't take a critical patient and put that person in the hands of an amateur, except you want the person to die. Sai Kenya iko mahututi. Kama mnataka ipone, mtafute daktari ambaye ni daktari. Sio daktari kama Ruto. Ruto sio daktari. Wacha niseme hiyo ingine. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being here. So, atuangalie hiyo story. Na kama unakuja studio, tafadhali wahi mapema. Leo hatutakawia kama jana. Jana tulikaa karibu masaa yote ikakwenda. So, tafadhali naomba tuangazie masuala haya kwa kina. Na tukiamini kwamba lazima tutekeleze wajibu wetu kama Wakenya ambao wamejitolea kuhakikisha kwamba nchi yao haitaharibika wakiona. Well, on the follow-up on the issue of Kenyatta Hospital, let me just play this video so that we close that story and then get into the issue of course, the issue of Maraga, as well as ODM leadership, and the issue of majority-minority. That is a big issue now that Mama was talking about. Kalonzo now saying he's called the principles of Azimio after he had declared that Azimio is dead. I really don't get it. But let's go on.
It is a murder most bizarre. On Friday, Gilbert Kinyua was brutally murdered in Kenyatta National Hospital. His wife remembers him as a sociable man who never feared for his life or held grudges. So who could have wanted him dead? And how does security lapse occur, such as this, at Kenya's largest referral hospital? Lilis Njero Mutinda with the details.
Many questions without answers, elusive sleep, and a profound sense of disconnection. This is the state we find Susan Wanjiko in at her home in Dandora, Nairobi. It is the horror of how she lost her husband, Gilbert Kinyua, the man she shared 11 years of love, laughter, and struggles with. It is a story of murder. A story of loss in the most unthinkable place. Kenyatta National Hospital, the country's largest referral hospital. A place meant to save lives, but where her husband, who has been unwell for years, was brutally butchered Friday morning.
Nafanya kazi ya hoteli, nauza chai. So, I'm mobile. Nikiwa kwa barabara ndio nilipokea simu. Nikaambiwa nahitajika Kenyatta. Nikawauliza kama kuna shida, wakaniambia kuna shida na ni emergency kuja. Ilibidi nirudi nyuma, nichukue document nitoke.
Since admission on December 11th, 2024, her husband's bed was at the corner of Ward 7B on the 7th floor. In her telling, the cubicle housed 2 patients, with the ward accommodating 7 patients, some who were gravely ill, while others up and about and even supporting her husband.
Ndio nikapata kukona tension. All of a sudden mimi nikastuka, najiuliza what happened. Daktari mmoja ndiye alituweka kwa room nyingine hapo. Akaanza kutuelezea vile kulienda, Gilbert alituacha, lakini kifo yake si halali. Nikajiuliza, hospitali kubwa hivi yenye mimi mwenyewe niko comfortable na wa trust, nimepeleka mgonjwa ako mahali pazuri, How comes unaweza sikia mtu amekatwa shingo na ni kwa hospitali ndani na hakuna mwenye alisikia? Hata wagonjwa wenye walikuwa na wao hakuna mwenye alinotice kuna kitu inaendelea. Hiyo ni inside mimi kwangu nikisema iko huko ndani.
What baffles Susan Wanjiku most is how her husband's killer or killers managed to bypass the security protocol in the dead of night, which is usually very strict during the day. After meeting the medical personnel and detectives from the homicide investigations, the family was requested to identify the body.
Kwa kitanda kama kawaida, lakini hiyo kitanda ilikuwa imejaa damu na mpaka chini hapo kulikuwa kumejaa damu, lakini shingo ilikuwa imekatwa hivi na katikati. Alafu ukiangalia hiyo shingo ni kama ilikuwa imekataa, ni kama ilifosiwa, sababu ilikuwa inaonekana ni kama imekatwa na ile kitu blunt.
The murder weapon was found at the scene. In 2011, Susan Wanjiku married Gilbert Kinyua, who was then employed as a water technician with a Nairobi-based company. The following year, Gilbert began experiencing health issues that led to frequent absences from work and multiple hospital visits, including prior admissions at the Kenyatta National Hospital. Although he was in a neurological ward, he was being treated for wards, and doctors said that he was getting better. So much so that the couple started to discuss life after hospital.
Pia tunataka justice, sababu naona sisi tulichukua hatua ya kumpeleka hospitali yenye tunajua ni ndio the best, na kwa roho zetu tulikuwa na imani huyo kijana atapona na atoke na arudi kazini mwake alee watoto wake.
This is not the first time such a heinous act has been reported in Kenyan public hospitals, raising concerns about security lapses that leave patients vulnerable. In November 2015, 42-year-old Cosmas Mutunga was found brutally murdered in his hospital bed at Kenyatta National Hospital's Ward 8C. No one has been convicted of the crime to date. Kenyatta National Hospital management confirming Friday's incident said it was working closely with law enforcement authorities and has since launched an internal investigation. The family of Mr. Gilbert Kinyua is now left with more questions than answers after their loved one was murdered in the very hospital they trusted for care. They're now standing at the crossroads of grief and confusion and are desperately seeking for justice. Lilis Njero Motinda, NTV.
Okay, there you get more details on the murder at the Kenyatta National Hospital. Very sad, and you know, the things you hear that don't add up at all. A ward that has 54 patients, somebody's throat is cut. The murder weapon is left at the place. Nobody noticed what happened. That one is only happens in the, I don't know. It's strange. That's strange. And this begs the question: do we indeed have? Are we safe as Kenyans? Are we safe as Kenyans? Because if you're not safe at the hospital, where there is 24-hour observation of the nurses and the doctors, like it has been said, this patient had to be checked constantly at 9 p.m., at 3 p.m., and then 6 p.m. I mean, 9 p.m., 3 a.m., and 6 a.m. What transpired in between that, he was only checked at 9 p.m., and then the nurse came to check at 6. What happened in between? And is it possible for a nurse a patient to be murdered in the main, like you see the way the wards are in Kenyatta. In fact, the beds are too close one to another. And 54 beds in the same room, and nobody can tell what happened. This is strange. And so Kenyans, we need to beg the questions and begin to look at this entire scenario. What's going on with our country? And why are things falling apart with every passing day? Are we seeing as things are, or we are still pretending that we can still make much progress with this administration in place? And then, of course, this is not the first murder at the same hospital, like the story has gone. And so, who is this behind the murders of patients? And why is it that the cameras did not capture the wherever? This is funny. Not with this time and age and the technological advancement. So wale ambao wako katika ya mambo lazima ukweli ujulikane, na Kenya iko na expert, iko na uzoefu wa kufunika mambo na kufanya watu wasahau yale ambayo yamekwenda kinyume nao. Hiyo tabia lazima tuikomeshe. Tukue watu ambao tutasisitiza kupata ukweli mpaka dakika ya mwisho. Sasa hivi kuwakumbusha tu, mmoja wa wale ambao walikuwa abducted alafu akakufa, Bwana Odhiambo huko Nakuru. Kumekuwa na maandamano kushinikiza apatikane, hiyo na hiyo. Sasa unaona kama ni moto umeanza kuzima polepole. Hiyo story itakwenda hivyo alafu iishe tu. Naomba kama Wakenya wazalendo tusikubalie maovu, yawe yanatuhusu yasiwe yanatuhusu. Nchi ambayo inaongozwa vizuri inahakikisha usalama wa kila mtu. Nchi inayoongozwa vibaya inasababisha hatari kwa kila mtu. Tunataka kuishi kwa nchi ya aina gani ambayo tuko sure nikikuachia mgonjwa wangu nitampata akiwa salama, ama nikuachie mgonjwa tena nikuachie askari wa kukuangalia ukiangalia mgonjwa? What kind of leadership is this? Well, thank you for being part of the conversation as we wrap up on that story and switch gears. Naona Kenyan Would Love is here. Mama, sijui kama una la kuongezea kabla nimilete Kenyan Would Love.
Kenneth, ulete Kenyan with Love alafu nitaingia. Kwa
Okay, asante.
sababu mtetu ameingia, tungoje tusikie yake.
Sawa. Kenyan Would Love.
Thank you. Let me test mic in. Am I audible?
Yes, we can hear you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Last time I had a little bit, maybe walikuwa wamejaribu kunivamia, but I went to reset settings. Nilikataa kuvamiwa mimi. Subaru ilikujia hata kama ni ya internet.
Ndio unakula kuwili, huwezi kosa kuvamiwa.
Wakikuja napotelea pande nyingine, narudi pande nyingine tena. Sasa wajui wanishikie pande gani. Either way, I'm really appreciative of this channel. Normally when I come in, natakanga kwanza kusema asante sana Bernard for you taking your time. Mami, it's always good to see you. Mami, na tafadhali leo tuombe sisi tunashinda. Unajua we are in a battle today on ours yetu. Yeah, Chiefs Super Bowl here in about 5 hours. About 2 hours. Tunaenda Super Bowl, tunaenda kushinda mara ya 3. That's on a commercial break. Either way, Bernard, ile kitu imenifanya sana nikaingia sana, because I've kind of laid low a little bit on the politics, because the politics I'm starting to see shenanigans, or people jumping right and left and center. And there's two politicians, I won't say who, that I was listening to them on a very separate thing that is not even on social media. And they were talking of now starting to join back and go back to Azimio. And I was kind of mesmerized. Hiyo ni story ingine ya mbali, lakini nimetupa tuko. Bernard, the thing that imeniingiza hapo hivi kabisa, and it's something that I've been asking Bernard and Mom and the people watching us, we really do appreciate. Bernard, I grew up, when I was growing up, I went to Dr. Livingstone Primary School, which is in Jerusalem. I know, Bernard, pale hata ukienda kuchapiwa hapo hivyo nje upige kelele hivi kila mtu atasikia. Hata watu wa raunda yetu wote walikuwa wanasikia. I don't see any hata hizi mnaitanga kina Karen wenye wako spaced. I don't see where mtu anaweza kuwa anapigiwa pale apige nduru watu wakose kusikia. Let's just be realistic kwanza. Natures of law. Watu wakose kusikia. I mean, it's so, in the point that I'm trying to make, unaona hata when I was growing up, ushago kwetu, I mean, there was a distance before you get to your neighbor. Nowadays, imejaa kidogo. So, you know, watu wamekuwa wengi si venye ilikuanga kitambo. Because those time hata ongezanga patana na fisi ukicheza. Because it's kind of next, I mean, Machako is next to the game park. Mimi nishaipatana na fisi kwa barabara. Growing up as a kid. Nikiwa ushago. But hata nikipiga hiyo story, nikipiga kelele venye nilipiga cause nilikuwa nalia, watu walitoka kwa mashamba hata zingine huko, watu wametoka huko juu na hiyo fisi iliuliwa. And I mean hyena. Si fisi Ruto, ama si fisi hizi zingine tunaita za kina Jemo. So basically, you realize I don't think there's anywhere in Kenya Mali unaweza, and to give an aspect of this thing. Christmas, Bernard, unashikaga kuku. Ukienda kukata hiyo kichwa, you know, unajua sisi katagu ile harakara, unashika unakanyagia chini mabawa na sijui kama bado watu ukata hivyo, ni kitambo nimechinja kuku. Na unaweka kisu na unakata mpaka iende. Hiyo kelele yote. Na kuambia watu kwa goredi washajua kule kunapikwa nini? Kuku. Kuna kakuku kameenda. What am I trying to say? Binadamu pia na yeye haizi shikwa akatwe bila kupiga kelele. Na hakuna mnyama anapendana kwa hii dunia na mwerevu kama binadamu. Ndio saa zingine unapatanga hata mwizi akipigwa watu wanakuja wanamhurumia. Utapata ndio kuna watu wa kijiji wenye wanataka apigwe tile, lakini already kijiji yote ishajua, na kuna wamama, unajua mama, I mean ladies have a very good heart. So wanakuja, msifanye, wacha tu tumpeleke, msiue, msifanye nini na nini. How did they know? Because wanajua. Ukisema mwizi kila mtu anajua. Bernard, are you really, both of you, when a mom, are you telling me that kama kwa barabara Nairobi ukiibiwa, upige kelele, kila mtu atasimama, hata magari, kila mtu anaangalia, maybe hata kusaidia. Kwa wengine wanataka kumind their own business. Lakini kila mtu atajua kuna kitu imefanyika mahali. Na hata ushago kila mtu atasikia. Unataka kuniambia Kenyatta Hospital na watu wote wenye wako hapo unaweza katiwa shingo hapo na hakuna mtu asikie ukipiga kelele, ama ni nini? Ama hukuongea, yani ulikuwa bubu, ulikuwa nini, hauna sauti, hauna nini. I mean, by the time hata mtu akudunge, hata ukidungwa na mwiba unasikiaga mtu mwiba tu. Unaona kila mtu amesimama anaangalia ni nini imefanyika. Unataka kuniambia kuna mtu anaweza dungiwa na tena waliingia aje? Na do we have security in our country? And this is a question that we have to take it out of the politics. No maana sitaki kuongea politics. I want to talk about this thing. How can somebody in any house, mimi hata kwenye naishi hata kwetu, Ushago kwenye hakuna polisi yako karibu. Hawezi. Nikipiga kelele watu watakuja kuangalia, hata kama mimi ndo nilikuwa nimechokoka. Wacha hata kupiga kelele, mchokozane wewe na bibi yako, mwanze kubishana. Wewe ni nani? Wewe ni nani? Kila mtu anaanza kuangalia ni nini inaendelea. So, what are we talking about here? Because wacha niongee kama Mjaluo, I'm not fathoming this, that something can happen in your house, Bernard, where you live. Hata ukiwa mgonjwa upige tu kelele hivi, kila mtu atakimbia. Mmesikia hiyo? Even a bird, if a bird or even an animal, ng'ombe, msikia inapiga, kila mtu atakimbia huko kwenda kuangalia ni nini inaendelea. And the way Kenyans are so curious, ndio unasikiaga saa zingine unaweza watupia kakitu kadogo, kwanza kila mtu atakimbia hapo, alafu sasa ndio uchapili kubwa, if you want to get them more. Because Kenyans are always curious in everything. If you want to get the crowds, watatoka hata mtu ataachilia jembe kule yuko. So, Bernard, what I want us to ask ourselves, and Mama Selina, is that what is the problem here? Is it that we don't have, we remember, I mean, the people, all the CCTVs that we've always gotten from people, are we saying that in our main institutions that we don't even have CCTVs, or we don't have enough security, or maybe we just don't have security, period? Or the people who are there, they're even at our Gonjo Kenyatta and the nurses, they are complicit. Because I don't understand. Mimi, I remember going to see my cousin who had given birth in Kenyatta. Sometime I was in Kenya. And I remember kuingia hapo kwanza lazima kwanza ningeangaliwa we ni nani, unaenda kwa nani na unaenda kufanya nini. Na tukiingia huko hatuko peke yetu. Are you telling me naweza enda kukatia mtu shingo kwa hiyo nini hiyo institution yote? Wacha hivyo. Hata Kibera kuna mahali unaweza. Wacha hivyo. Hata huko kwenye kuna mashamba zimegawana. Kuna mtu tu atasikia cause hata huko kwenye kuko hivyo bado the noise pollution is less. So your voice goes a long way. Na hakuna mtu anaweza katwa kichwa kama anaweza katwa shingo kama amenyamaza. Unless you have very good tolerance of pain and you're ready to go. You know, which is impossible. So what exactly is happening here? I wish you huyu mtu alikatiwa hapo kwa Kenyatta. Because I believe it's impossible. Ni nini tunadanganywa? Laws of nature, Bernard, do not allow. And I'm a very statistical person and I'm a very realistic person. I know, I'm a scientist. I don't just go by hearsay. I go by what exactly is. Bernard, leo hata hapo hivyo ukienda kukata nyanya hapo kwako, ujikate mwenyewe. Utasema, ouch! Na kama bibi yako alikuwa amekaa hapo hivyo utaona ametoka mbio kuja kuuliza, umefanya nini? So imagine ukikatwa hivi. Bernard kuna maneno. Na tena Kenyatta kwanza ina private sectors. I think Mata ndio kuna private ya one-on-one. Hizo zingine mnashareaga. You share by a curtain. I know Mata has a single room. But even if you have a single room, it's not soundproof. So basically, what I'm trying to nullify this analogy that ilifanyikia Kenyatta. Hiza walienda huko Masai Mara na huko ndani kwa wanyama wakamalizia maneno yake alafu wakarudisha hapa and someone knows something. Hiyo kitu watu wezi fanyia Mukuru kwa Njenga ama hata even Karen Owezi hata kama wamegawana. It's nonsense, Bernard. And maybe that's what I was trying to demystify, brother. And Mama Selina, thank you for having me for now.
Okay, thank you, Kenyan. Would love great questions indeed, and interesting outlook. Unless something mystical took place. Hata kama nikupatia wagonjwa wengine 54 walale usingizi kabisa ndio utekeleze huo unyama. It's not possible to get 54 people to sleep at the same time and not hear anything that is taking place. And so I think that is something that begs a lot of questions. And it tells a lot on what is happening in terms of people being responsible, especially in public service. Kenyatta being a public hospital where everybody is, referred to, we need, healthcare is not something we can leave on chance. And so this aspect is not helping. And so I don't know wabunge wanasema nini kwa hili, lakini lazima kitu kifanyike katika kuhakikisha usalama wa wagonjwa. Kuchinja mtu shingo ikuwe sindano, sumu, kitu kama hiyo labda iwezekane, ama kuchinja na wembe. But a blunt object, no. Let something serious be given. Let a better explanation be given. And Kenyans, we are in trouble if this is happening at this time and age. And then where did the CCTV go to? Where are the monitors of the CCTV? Because every ward, especially for those critical patients, is supposed to be under surveillance, including doctors. There are places, Mato, you're talking about private rooms. Those private rooms are not as private as they are called to be private. Even when the doctor is wherever diagonizing you or taking your nini, is also being watched, because there are doctors who take advantage of patients. So there are hidden cameras that are supposed to monitor all those interactions. So hiki kinachosemekana Kenyatta Hospital, it's not adding up. Mtu akuja tuambie ni kipi kiliendelea, lakini hiyo story wanayosema haifai kabisa, not at this time and age. Thank you for the contribution, Kenyan Dude Love. Mama, kama unala kuongezea, tunabadilisha gear tuingie kwa swala lingine.
Unajua Bernard, wakati madaktari waliongea na wakasema blood, huyu mama sasa ndiye ametuambia vizuri, amekuta shingo imekatwa. Madaktari ametuambia huyo patient alikuwa analishwa na tube. So possibility pia yenye Kenya with Love kusema aliuawa, labda alitolewa akaletwe, hiyo ni ngumu. Penalty hiyo ni inside job. Aita mtu alijifanya patient, akaingia, akakaa kama patient, ama pesa Kenya imeleta shida penalty. Mtu anapeana pesa, kwa sababu kwanza hiyo Kate watchman wenye walikuwa hapo, kwa sababu kuna time ya kuingia hospitali nilisema 6-7 ndiye mwisho, na kama kuna wale wanachungwa na watu, kuna watu wanajulikana wanakaa na hao patient. Lakini kulingana na huyu mama, naonekana huyu patient hakukuwa na mtu ya kumchunga. Walipeleka yeye na akaamini hospitali. So chenye tunataka kuuliza, investigation hata penalty na maisha ya mtu imeenda, alafu ikae 3 months sipotee na mtu ameuawa hospitali, kukatwa shingo. Unajua ndio sababu samani ulikuwa ukipeleka chai ama chakula, hapo ndio ilikuwa inasemekana watu wameweka sumu ikakataswa. Mpaka sota uwezi peleka, ikakataswa kabisa, uwezi pitisha chakula. Now hii yenye ameenda mpaka kuua mtu. Alafu mama amesema alikuwa anafanya kazi na kampuni ya maji. So hiyo ni kama inside job kutokana na mali pake kazini alifanya, ama kuna chambo ilikuwa. Na kama ni hivyo tena ni ngumu juu huyu mtu anaonekana amekonjeka. So kifo yake kwanza iko na shida ya kwamba alifanya kazi. Nilikuwa nafikiria mambo ya maji, nikafikiria ni county government ya Nairobi, lakini hiyo ni kumaanisha hapana. So hapo kuna mambo sasa penalty kuanzia hapo. mpaka retire, mpaka akuwe mgonjwa. Alikuwa ameresign ama alikuwa amekonjeka akiwa hivyo. So hiyo ni mtu ameenda nunuana hospitali, hiyo manases wafinywe watasema, na mpaka watchman. Alafu 54 patients, hata kama hiyo daktari alianza kusema ati wengi ni wa kupenduliwa, wengi ni wa you know how kuta ward ya 54 people inawekwa ati watu wawezi hakuna Bernard, ukiwa na 10 patients ama uko na 30 patients, for example, as a nurse lazima ukuwe na wenye wanaitwa total, ndio ni watu kama 6, kwa sababu hii watu wanahitaji services na unapatiwa patients wenye wanachiweza. There is no way ati kwa hospitali hata kama inaitwa total uwezi kuwa everybody ni total, kwa sababu wale wanafanya kazi hao manases ya kuosha, ya kupendua, huwezi kuwa na watu 54 Bernard, na wote 54 kwa hii room site ya Bernard 54. Kwanza lazima ionekane hiyo hospitali iko na hall inaitwa nini, ile rooms. Kwa hiyo rooms kuna corridor, tuseme vitanda laini 3 Bernard, ama laini 2, hata kama ni laini 2 na wanalala patient 2, kwa sababu hospitali mingi iwezi upata hata mtu ni moja, na hata kitanda moja ikiwa na mgonjwa mbaya moja, the second patients wanakuanga wanashare penalty. Hao madaktari wajatuambia ukweli. One, there is no ward ati watu 54 ni total. How? Nani anafanya hiyo kazi? Tuna watu total, yes, watu 6, 10. Kama uko na watu 10 ama patient 20, at least watu ya wheelchair labda ni 4, watu ya kulala kwa kitanda wa muki ni 5, alafu the rest ni wale wanachipeleka nje na kurudi. Kwa hivyo moja, yale mambo wamesema madaktari ni out, hiyo ni lie. Na pena ningeomba watu ya makaseti journalist, ningeomba wa visit hiyo maward na waone our patients wanakaaje. Ni uongo kabisa. Ukiona mimi wakati huyu mama ameongea na mambo nimesikia kwa madaktari ina conflict already. Ni hayo tu, kwa hayo tunataka ukweli. Huu mtu aliwawa hapo, haita mtu alinunuliwa ama mtu alijifanya ni mgonjwa akamaliza kazi yake akatoka. And then 6 ndio wanafungua gate. So kama sisi wote tunaingia 6 kuona wagonjwa penat, wewe unatoka uliingia saa ngapi? Kama inafunguliwa everybody anaingia by 6, wewe utakuwa uliingia saa ngapi ndio unatoka? That is lie, a lie. 3 to 6, no.
Bernard, let me add on something that I forgot actually, and it's very important. Please, with all due respect, sir. Bernard, when nikipeleka mgonjwa wangu, if I take my sick one or whatever the case is, either it's an accident or whatever it is, I've taken somebody to the hospital. Kuna the doctor that I live onto, right? Bernard, I think some of the developed places, some of the developed places, is that person is actually responsible for your safety, including even a police arrest you. You're their responsibility. You see what I'm saying? So anybody that attends to you that is an employee of that area, whether be a police officer or a police station or even a hospital, you are responsible of that patient or that mfungwa or whoever because at that time it's okay, with the police it's kind of like a detainment, so you are responsible for my safety if you detain me, regardless how it is, until you hand me over. And the person that I have to have somebody who's responsible for that. Now, if I take my mzazi wangu kwa hospitali, then there has to be somebody who's responsible, who was catering for me. Because those people, the problem that we've had with Kenya, we've not had this good system that there's a specific doctor, whoever was caring for you, whoever nurses were caring for you, they're supposed to be logged on you, because they're supposed to be log their names on everything that you're doing, because you are under their care. So at that point, if something like this happens, number one, by now we should know the doctor. He should be in jail, or not, even if not in jail, be charged, because he neglected his patient or her patient. The nurse that was also responsible should also already be charged by now. And even the cleaner that actually works in that room, the people, the workers of that area that were given the responsibility of taking this mama, they should already be held personally accountable. And unless our country will start doing that and stop running around bush games, so where if Bernard nikiletwa kwako, umeletewa mimi nimeshikwa na mashetani, unafaa kuniombea, you are responsible for my safety because nimeletewa kwako as a pastor. Unaona? So we need to know nani walikuwa wanakea, and they need to have logs, because unless we start going after these people, they will start making those deals. But if we don't if we can hold them accountable, kama umeletewa mtu, that's why you find in the developed countries, you'll find mtu ni nasi ya mtu ameletwa huko, but she's on the log. But atazamka usiku ya manane akisikia kuna shida, akimbie, because she knows she's gonna be in problems. Hata akikufa natural, kutakuwa na investigation na atakuwa ndani. So we don't do any investigations. We just say, huyu alikufia huko, huyu alichinjwa huko. We don't even have anyone. We can't even talk to about. We need to know the doctor. We need to know the nurse. We need to know who was watching, the watchman that was watching that ward. Kama ni your ward, hata watu wenye walikuwa karibu. We need to know who are responsible, and that's a law that we need to do. And then we are going to pass such a law so that ukiletewa mtu, chungo mtu na roho yako yote.
Okay, thank you. And I don't think we don't have a law. What we have is just negligence by the people who are responsible. If the ward is for critical patients, each bed is fitted by a bell, where if there is an emergency and the sick person is, unable to raise his voice in calling the nurse, that's where he's supposed to press, and the nurse knows that he needs attention. So all these stories we are being fed it portrays us as a very primitive society, to say the least. This could be, talked about maybe in the 70s and in the 80s, when technology had not come to where it is right now. What we have here is somebody who has neglected his responsibility. And then, of course, this attitude of I've handed the information to the DCI, let the DCI do the investigations. The primary place for investigation is round up everybody who was on that floor and everybody that came in, the books that who walked in, who walked out, the CCTV from the compound and everywhere else. That's what is needed to be done. But look at the way we're being told, we have handed the information to the DCI. The DCI are doing the investigations. Those are jokes. And I think we need better services to public people. Public service needs to be reviewed and needs to be given the seriousness it takes. This aspect of letting people off the hook is what is contributing to this aspect of you are a nurse on duty, lakini wewe umeenda kutafuta chai, umeacha wagonjwa, hakuna mtu anafanya nini? Umeacha ward, hakuna mtu anaangalia nini kipi kinachoendelea. Ama umekuwa on duty, umeangalia wagonjwa, saa 8 imefika, usingizi imekuzidi, wewe umeenda kwa room kulala, utaamka asubuhi kuja kuangalia kipi kiliendelea. So this aspect of watu kuchukulia kazi ya public hivi, hiyo attitude is what we need to address, because mambo kama haya paswa kuwa yanasemekana katikati yetu, katika kizazi na Karen kama hii. As a people, we need to review our character, especially the people in public service. And then, of course, wasimamizi wa institutions that are critical, like Kenyatta National Hospital. Wewe ni CEO wa Kenyatta National Hospital, administrator, directors, what are you doing in streamlining these things so that 54 patients in one room and you have 4 nurses? That doesn't add up. 54. Kwani wewe ni mwalimu wa shule? Hata mwalimu wa shule anasoma register, hahudumii wagonjwa. Hawa ni watu wamejileta kujifunza. The classroom is supposed to have an average of what? 40 students. 54, 4 nurses, and maybe 1 nurse is on duty in the night? No, that's a joke. So those lapses must be addressed, and we should get sufficient manpower to handle cases. And if those are immobile patients, they are in critical condition, then they should have majority of the nurses attending to them, so that hakuna kitu kinakwenda mrama. So watasema Bwana Kinyua alijiua mwenyewe. Okay, alipata wapi wherever the weapon that he used to kill himself? Because that's what is being pushed. I think so. All these stories, the way they are putting it is to look like he killed himself. But kwangu mimi, I smell a rat in all this. And as a country, we are doing very poorly. Story kama hizi hasipasi kusemekana miongoni wa kizazi kama hiki. Okay, let's hear this bite by Natembea, and then we switch to the political aspect of our discussion, even as we begin to, home stretch on the discussion. I saw this bite as a very critical observation by somebody who has been in the security sector for ages and knows the importance of not playing games with security. Let's just hear it out and then we can weigh on the same.
Rais amekubali watu wapewe vitambulisho bila kufanywa vetting. Alitangazia kule Northeastern. Mimi nimefanya kazi huko. Watu wengi ambao wanatafuta vitambulisho Northeastern ni wa Somali, kutoka Somalia. Na wao wanakuja hata vetting committee wanaipatia pesa, alafu wanapewa vitambulisho. Sasa hiyo committee imetolewa na hakuna alternative. Na wakati rais anatangaza hivyo, kuna machifu 5 ambao walikuwa wameenda kumpangia mkutano, walichukuliwa na Al-Shabaab, hawajapatikana mpaka saa hizi, wako Somalia. Wale watu ambao wamekamata machifu wetu sasa watapewa vitambulisho ya Kenya freely. Watapewa. Sasa wakitoka pale wakienda kuteka nyara watu wengine wakikamatwa, watakuwa wamebeba ID nani? Ya Kenya. Watakuwa wanasema wa Kenya wamekuwa watu kuteka nyara watu. Hawa watu watapata passport zetu, waende kula Amerika, waende wakalipue manyumba huko. Watasema wa Kenya wanalipua manyumba huko. Mtapewa visa ya kwenda Amerika. These things ziko na serious security implications. Sio kitu ya kufanya kiholela namna hii. Itafika mahali hawa watu watakuja kwa wingi, hata MCA atachaguliwa, hata MP atachaguliwa, hata governor atachaguliwa, hata msukuchua president atachaguliwa na atakuwa mgeni, atakuwa Mkenya. Wengine wataingia kwa jeshi, wataingia kwa polisi. Itafika mahali escort commander wa president mwenyewe atakuwa mgeni, hatakuwa Mkenya. Saa hizi mataifa inaangalia mipaka. Ukienda Amerika, taifa kubwa linazuia watu kuingia kwenye taifa lake. Wanazuia. itakuwaje a small undeveloped primitive country inafungura mpaka namna hii ili watu wakuje bila wanataka? Tutakuwa na nchi wapi? Mimi nitasema ukweli yangu, wakitaka kunimaliza mtakumbuka maneno nimesema. But you can't keep quiet when things are going wrong. That one was a wrong policy decision. And it's going to injure us. In another 5 years, utaona kitu ambacho kitafanyika. It's going to be very bad.
Okay, huyu anaitwa Natembea, governor wa Trans Nzoia, amekuwa regional Rift Valley commissioner, and he has worked in the security sector for ages. He's been a district commissioner or regional commissioner in most of problematic regions. Then I think he did a neat job in terms of restoring normalcy. And so I think his wisdom and his thoughts on this matter is something not to brush off. And I wonder why the head of state would be doing such kind of sweeping statements and giving directives without consulting with such people. I thought when you're president and you want to do something that is drastic like that, you must consult with the people that are really experienced and make a decision based on the available information, historical realities, and what is good for the interests of the country. I don't think that decision of removing vetting for who is applying for national ID is well informed and well considered. I think it only considered one side, and that is getting votes. But like Mama asked here yesterday, where is the guarantee ati nikikuingiza kwa nchi nikupatia kitambulisho lazima unipigie kura? Si ndaweza kufika huko na nipigie mwingine? Utanifanya? Withdraw ID yangu? So I think kuna masuala ambayo tunatumia akili mbaya kufanya maamuzi bila kufikiria vizuri. And this could be part of what is contributing to these lapses we are talking about. What kuwawa bure, services kufanywa bure, kufanywa kimakosa, na haifai kabisa. You decide that so and so should go and work in a particular place. You don't check who he is, how effective he is, how well he can perform. Is he competent? We sweep all that. We put somebody there kwa sababu ni Mkale, tuweke yeye kwa sababu ni Mkikuyu, tuweke yeye kwa sababu ni Mluya. When did Uluya, Ukikuyu na Ukale kuwa competence?
Okay, better nataka kujitoa kwa sababu my game is starting. We have the Super Bowl today inaanza saa hizi. So kama nyinyi kwa heshima naweza omba tu nichape last statement yangu on that one, and then mimi ni kanyage kubwa kubwa. I have to watch this. It's a big game.
Sawa, advertisement fee utanipa?
Ya kila mtu anajua iko kwa dunia mzima. Anyway, let me just talk about what Natembea is. Natembea is saying something that is really a lot of people wanafaa kusema, and you said very well, amekuwa into the security systems. And if you talk to a lot of the military people and also people who hold the national security of a country is such a big thing. Ndio maana hata tunapigana na Trump tukimwambia kwa nini unafukuza watu wenye wajafanya chochote and they have not been criminals, okay? But Bernard, you cannot, the reason there's borders, the reason it's called Kenya and not Kenya Somali, it's because there's borders of Kenya and there's rules and constitution to follow when you're in Kenya, and there's what you follow when you're in Somali. And he's true, he's right in what he's saying, because can you imagine now? Well, let me ask you a question. Actually, is this a vice versa thing? Can you go get nini inaitwaje? Wewe mwenyewe sasa unaziingia Somali uende ukaitisha passport? Ovyo. No. Hakuna. Sasa ukileta watu, and of course, remember we had to take our whole military, Mr. Bernard, into Somalia so that we can secure our borders. So now, when we start seeing this happen, the person that actually saw the Constitution and said that he's going to defend the integrity of this country, what does that tell you? He's failed in his constitutional mandate. That is grounds for impeachment, because he's not defending our borders according to his oath of office. Because if we gave you to go defend and we gave you a sword, ulisema si ya kukata nini, si ya kukata skuma, lakini we gave you the semblance of that sword is for you to defend us, and the reason we call you the chief of the defense forces. What is the work of the defense forces? Is to defend the country from external threat. But if kama unaenda kufungua hiyo threat yote ikuje, then actually you're not a Kenyan. Ruto should not be a Kenyan by now, because he's not defending the sovereignty of our country. Basically what it is, he's making porous of the defense that we've created since independence. The immigration ameitupa because now we can't even defend ourselves. So is he really at this point worthwhile being in office, or has he gone against his constitutional oath and mandate? He has, by opening up porous, making our kuambia watu nyinyi kujeni. Whose best interests are you serving? Kenyan or Somalians? And remember that your western border is bigger than Somali. It actually goes, remember they are next to Ethiopia, so Ethiopia has a rukaisa ingine, and remember these guys have had, non-government function for a long time, so kuingia Somali pia si shida. Anaweza ingia huko pia Ethiopia na ingilise ingine kwa ajiite Msomali. And remember they border each other. When you wako kwa border, they speak the same language. Ni kama mtu wako Malaba, you wanna say your side ingine anaongea language different. They speak the same language, they look the same. So umefungua border, what kind of porous system have you opened up? Ruto, that is grounds for impeachment, because that is not what you do with your country, to open it up to harm. And it's not that we are saying we've been in good terms with this country that we are talking about. It's a country that we've attacked. Maybe kuna watu huko bado wamejam. Wanasema mlikujanga mkaleta vifaru huku na mkaleta watu wenyu Kisimayu mkafanya nini. So now, and remember these are the pirates of the Indian Ocean, east of Indian Ocean. These are the same pirates. When every ship that inapitapo lazima iweke barbed wire, iweke nini na ikue na armed people, so that the pirates don't come in, don't hijack those ships. So basically, he's putting the country in harm's way. And Bernard, if that is not grounds for impeachment, I have no idea what other grounds you guys will ever have. Bernard, I want to thank you so much, Mama Selina. Thank you so much, everybody on the comment section. I really want to appreciate everybody on Sound Candy Talk. We really do appreciate you guys. This is where we come and have a conversation. I want to appreciate you guys. Go Chiefs! Wenye wanaelewa. Asanteni sana. Patane baadaye. Inshallah. Mungu awabariki.
Asante Mato, we appreciate all the best as you go to enjoy your sport. Utatuletea matokeo baadaye. But asante kwa maoni hayo, na tunaomba kwamba wadau wafanye nini? Watilie mkazo na maanani mambo hayo yote, kwa sababu huu mchezo tunacheza katika nchi hii haufai kabisa. Helen hapa anasema William Ruto ako na PhD, hawezi kuambiwa lolote na yeyote. Sasa hiyo PhD ndio inatushitua, kwa sababu watu wa PhD wanapaswa kuwa wanafahamu mambo mengi, haswa masuala ya usalama na njia ya kuharibu usalama wa nchi. Hii PhD ya kutafuta kura kwa vyovyote vile na kuharibu mazingira ambayo yanafaa. By the way, leo kumekuwa na crackdown Isiolo, ati wanafanya crackdown ya madawa. Sasa mimi nashindwa, mnafungua mpaka alafu mnatuma crackdown ati mnatafuta wale ambao wanauza madawa kulevya. I think this country is lost and we better do something about its leadership. Quickly before we bring in the next story, I want to remind us that we are handling 2 cases. One, we are supporting Frank. We are all aware Frank, our Sound Candy Talk son. We need to secure him and the grandmother. And so we are looking forward to you supporting that particular cause. I pray that you will be on the forefront in ensuring that Frank is well taken care of. Like I said, we have already relocated him from the slum. He's now living in a better place, very secure, gated place in terms of security, and they live on ground floor. So the grandma is able to get in the house without struggle and in a safe environment. Now that costs, like we reported, the rent is 10K per month plus Wi-Fi, that's 11K a month. And so we are counting on you to send your contribution to help that. And also volunteer. My faith is get 1 or 2, 3 people that can pay the rent for 12 months. And then we concentrate on his studies. We are looking forward tomorrow. I want him to be here so that he can talk to you physically, lest some of you are beginning to raise questions here and there. So tutakuwa na yeye hapa tuongeleshe moja kwa moja. Nataka aanze masomo ya computer literacy, and they will be coaching him right from the studios here. And thereafter, we need somebody to sponsor him to clear his secondary education by booking an exam and then prepare him for the exam. At least apate hiyo certificate ya 4th form. So haya mambo yote ni yetu kama Sound Candy Talk. Nataka tusilegee katika kutekeleza haya, kwa sababu Frank ni mtu mmoja tu, na kama tuwezi badilisha maisha ya mtu mmoja, hatuwezi kuwa tunazungumza kuhusu kubadilisha nchi. Tukikwepa jukumu hili, kwangu mimi inaonyesha dhahiri shairi kwamba hatuko serious. That's how I judge. But tutafanya lolote lile liwe liwalo kwamba Frank na grandmother wake watashughulikiwa vizuri. At least tukiwapatia afueni ya 12 months watakuwa wamejipanga vizuri, na I'm sure Frank being a sharp guy atakuwa ameshika mkondo wa kujisimamia. So sio support ya milele, ni support tu ya mwaka moja ama 6 months, alafu I'm sure Frank will be able to take over and run the affairs of the family rightly. So nakuomba kama hujatuma mchango wako, tafadhali tuma. Kuna njia mbili ya kutuma. Kuna ile campaign tunafanya ya PayPal, link nitakuwa na kupatia shortly. Alafu kuna kama wale ambao mko comfortable kutumia PayPal, I'm sure there are some wale ambao wako na hofu na masuala ya PayPal, but it is secure. It's all PayPal, wherever controlled and secured. If you need to contribute there, I guarantee you there is no cause for alarm. But if you can't, then use the usual M-Pesa contribution where we send our usual contribution. Bora unaambie hii ni ya Frank ama hii ni ya Sound Candy Talk. Pia Sound Candy Talk lazima tulipe bills, light bill, Wi-Fi bill, rents and things like that. So tunakutegemea wewe. Tafadhali usilegee katika haya yote. Tufanye yote ambayo tunaweza. Tuko na uwezo, tusikae kana kwamba tunalemewa na mzigo. I think this is a bill that we can foot comfortably. So tafadhali, let's step up and do the necessary. Well, quickly on the poll question before nimlete mama tena achangie tunapoanza kutamatisha. Leo sitapita 2 AM kwa sababu lazima nijipange, nitakuwa na siku mrefu. Well, opinion question tulikuwa tunauliza, in your opinion, does the retired CJ Maraga stand a chance to win the Kenya presidency? Okay, so far we have 69 people have participated into the poll, and of the 69 people, 64% say yes, 36% say no. So hapa naona Maraga shapata 50+1. So naomba tuendelee katika kutoa maoni yetu ili tusi ieleweke. Let's gauge and see. Kenyans ready, especially the reason why I brought this question is to prove to us or to show us Kenyans, are we ready to choose a person of character other than political party or political tribal affiliation? Can we go beyond our tribe? Can we go beyond our political parties and choose a leader for the sake of the country? That's one of the reasons why I posed that question, and thank you for participating. But please, let's also give the video a thumbs up as you vote, and then of course share it widely. Let your friends get to know what we are saying from this end. And so quickly, please, let's move in with speed and take action. Support Frank, support Sound Candy Talk, and then of course participate in the poll question as we go further. Quickly, let me just play this video, and then Mami will come in as we begin to wrap up.
Is retired Chief Justice David Maraga planning to vie for the presidency in 2027? Maraga's recent activities seem to suggest that the retired CJ may be harboring political ambitions, with Kenyans on social media calling on him to go for the top seat in the upcoming presidential contest. Activist David Mudhoka traces Maraga's political movements in recent months in a bid to answer the question of whether the former Chief Justice could be planning to throw his heart in the ring.
Since his retirement in January 2021, former Chief Justice David Kinyua Maraga had kept a somewhat low profile. On the X platform, the country's 14th Chief Justice made only 13 posts between when he left office and last December, when Maraga all of a sudden became active on social media. The 13 posts he made were mainly to debunk fake news attributed to him and pass messages of condolence, including this condolence message to the family of the late President Mwai Kibaki and this condolence message to the family of the late General Francis Ogola. However, between last December and now, the retired Chief Justice has made 9 posts, just 4 short of the 13 he made in the last 4 years of retirement. His comeback post was this statement veiled as a New Year message to Kenyans, but in reality a scathing attack at the government over the spate of abductions in the country, which has since garnered over 300,000 views. Exactly a month later, on 31st January 2024, Maraga made another post condemning abductions and extrajudicial killings in the country by stating, and I quote, "We cannot remain silent. These crimes are a profound betrayal of the future of our nation and the sanctity of the Constitution. A leadership that abates a culture of killings and human rights violations jeopardizes its legitimacy." To date, the post has garnered over 390,000 views. This month, Maraga has remained active both online and offline. On 4th February, the retired CJ met a group of young activists led by Nyamisa Chelagat, who claimed to have updated Maraga on their movement's struggle for good governance, the rule of law, and constitutionalism. Acknowledging the visit, Maraga posted, and I quote, "I was inspired by your passion and commitment to transform Kenya into a better place for everyone. The youth's struggle for a better Kenya deserves all our support." End of quote. Today, Maraga, Seventh-day Adventist, dropped the clearest hint yet that he may not only be considering going for the top job, but also considering the youth as his voting bloc by attending a church service at the SEK Holy Trinity Church in Kibra, Nairobi. Immediately after the Sunday service, Maraga posted, and I quote, "As part of my ongoing engagement with the youth, the young people invited me to the SEK Holy Trinity Church in Kibra, Nairobi for their youth service today. The service was presided over by Barak Odur, whose sermon was on Moses' leadership of the children of Israel out of Egypt. After the service, I had a chance to engage some of the youth and was impressed and encouraged by their enthusiasm and belief in the possibility of a new Kenya that will address their concerns." End of quote. That last statement seems to strongly suggest that Maraga is eyeing an elective seat, or at least vested in politics. A man who shook the country and the world by historically nullifying a presidential victory and several months later ruling that parliament should be disbanded for failing to meet the 2/3 gender rule could be back to his old self, willing to take the bull by its horns, this time in the murky political arena and not in the corridors of justice like before. However, several political analysts have scoffed at 74-year-old Maraga's chances of being a force to reckon with should he decide to throw his hat in the ring. Analyst Jarvis Bigambo says Maraga is not only mistaken that he is popular for annulling a presidential election before, but also incapable of mounting a serious challenge to President William Ruto, who will be seeking re-election in less than 3 years' time.
Writing on Facebook or Twitter alone does not amount to political messaging that is stirring or inspiring. So he needs to rethink, reorganize, re-strategize, and in fact shed off the old skin of a laid-back jurist and become a serious dragon of a politician, if at all he wants to be a compelling presidential candidate.
Bigambo's counterpart Martin Andati, on the other hand, has said that it is unlikely that Maraga, who will be 76 in 2027, will join politics, adding that a good dancer not only knows when to leave the stage, but also deliberately chooses to stay away from it.
Maraga just is an elder. He served as Chief Justice. He retired at, is it 70 or 72?
He retired at 70.
Yeah, so I don't think he will be keen on going into elective politics. He has built his career in the judiciary. Yeah, so I don't think he would want to soil his reputation by getting into politics. You know, politics has a lot of uncertainties.
It remains to be seen whether retired Chief Justice David Maraga will be addressing rumors that he plans to run for the presidency in the coming days. Already, his predecessor, Willie Mutonga, has dismissed reports that he intends to run for the presidency. Will Maraga be following in the footsteps of Mutunga, or will he be charting his own path? David Muthoka, NTV, Nairobi.
Mami, kazi kwako.
Bernard, for Maraga, alionyesha example, alionyesha leadership yake, ni yeye achipange, make sure cut at enough, and I don't know kama atakuwa na new party ama atajoin a party that exists, na atafanya kazi na kina nani, because again Bernard, this country Kenya inaonekana there is no one political party anaweza unda serikali. So now for me, I think achipange, alafu aone kama which party he can be, ama anaanza party, and all these parties inaanzwa penat mingi ni briefcase parties. But a person serious like him, okay, I see him with young people, of which it is good. And again, our young people, they need to be in political parties. They need to be active in politics. So I wish him well. He's a good person. Hana rangi mingi, msimama ako nayo. In a leader, we need a principal leader. And again, we need a leader who listens to elders, to young people, to everybody else, churches. I think wisdom, Bernard, we need a wisdom. We need a person with na akona wisdom. Otherwise, for him, if I compare Matiang'i and Maraga, Maraga has good record. As a church, akona uchusi mingi, kama ameweza simamia Supreme Court. Pia na akaamua, na ukiangalia churchmen zake, unaona mingi amefanya na ukweli. So ukifuata mambo amefanya kwa Wakenya, Matiang'i has once harmed people when he was in the wakati alikuwa Minister of Education, he was okay, but wakati alikuwa Interior, the baby pendos and the rest of the young people that they were killed that time, kwa wakati ya Uhuru, I don't think Matiang'i is the right leader. Unless we want also a leader like Ruto. Yeah, unajua mtu anajulikana na uongozi wake. Arrogant people, watu wa hasira. If we need people like that, well, Matiang'i is welcome. I think that is what I can say, Bernard.
Okay, so thank you, Mami. Good observation indeed. And then, of course, at the end of the day, it is Kenyans to decide. And like I said, we will either consider our tribesmen or consider our party affiliation. But in seeking the leadership of this country, if we want to end up with really leadership, we should go beyond regions, go beyond tribe, and land on character. Also, there has to be that aspect of people who have proven that they can deliver, because this country is in a very, very precarious position. It needs very, very experienced hands for it to navigate where it is to where it should be. We shouldn't forget that, and that is why it's important that we rally and support the best candidate. And so whether Maraga comes by a political party, forms a political party, or joins a political party, or goes as an independent candidate, I think his character is a good one that we should not brush off. On the other hand, of course, he's as good as the people he works with in making Kenya become a better place. If the young people see that they are safer in the hands of Maraga, so be it. You can see there is also a spirited campaign for Matiang'i. Matiang'i has his own faults, but let's consider everything. Let's not consider only one aspect in terms of deciding national leadership. National leadership is diverse. It's different from being a head of a ministry and a head of a department. Hii nchi kuibeba, Moi alikuwa anasema kuongoza Mwafrika ni ngumu sana. Mwafrika nywele ngumu, kichwa ngumu. Nasema kama ningekuwa na roho ya panya, ningekuwa nimewatupa. Now that wisdom by Moi is something not to brush off. I think we are suffering from that. Uongozi wa William Ruto una ile hali ya kuconsider inji, anaconsider tu yeye na wale ambao wanakula na yeye. Lakini Moi alibeba inji kwa moyo wake. Hata wakati alikuwa anafanya maovu hapa na pale, ilikuwa kwa consider the country first, and that is important in leadership. So tusiangalie tu technocrat, tuangalie management. Mainly, let's consider character, tabia ya mtu. Ila ambaye haiwezi kubadilika hata tukimwagia mafuta kiasi gani, tabia yake itakuwa ile ile. So tukichagua mtu muovu, maovu yataendelea. Tukichagua mtu mwema, mema yataonekana. Tunapoanza kufungasha, nashukuru kila mmoja tupate hii video ya masuala ya uongozi wa ODM, lakini tulikuwa tunazungumzia kiasi. Naomba tusimame imara katika kutafuta uongozi wa nchi, na hili swala lishughulikiwe at all levels. Tunaweza kuwa na president ambaye ni malaika, lakini kama governor ni shetani, masenator ni shetani, ma-MP ni shetani, hakuna vile huyu malaika ataenda kubadilisha hawa mashetani. So tuangalie kwamba tunapotafuta president mnyoofu, tutafute MP mnyoofu, tutafute governor mnyoofu, senator mnyoofu. Watu wote ambao tunapatia uongozi wawe watu ambao ni wa kutegemewa. Tukishapata hiyo, we can go and sleep, because good people will provide good leadership. Bad people will provide bad leadership. Kama vile Biblia inasema, hakuna kisima ambacho kinatoa maji matamu na machungu at the same time. So wewe kama unaangalia masuala ya uongozi, tuende beyond kushabikia mtu, kusema fulani ni wa fulani. Tuangalie tabia yake ambayo ni muhimu kuliko chochote kile. And then of course, mwamba ngoma uvuta kwake. Kila mtu ataanza kuvuta kwake. Lazima tusimame na nchi, tusisimame na watu tukichoma nchi.
Still in politics, and the split in the ODM party widened further as leaders who are opposed to the broad-based government claimed or clashed with their counterparts who are supporting the arrangement.
During an ODM meeting in Kakamega, leaders opposed to the handshake came to the defense of the party's Secretary General Edwin Sifuna, who has been leading the Not Too Broad-Based campaign in the party. Emmanuel too has the details.
The event, which brought together ODM leaders from the Western Kenya region, saw the simmering cracks in the ODM party widen as the leaders differed on the decision by the ODM party to work with President William Ruto's government. Those opposing the political marriage first to draw the first blood.
Itafika wakati baba ametoka kule AU, tutakuja hapa na party leader muwe tayari kutueleza, are we in the government or we are not. If you don't do that, you are going to end up with two ODM. You will have ODM in government and ODM in opposition.
It is also fraudulent. Mkono huu wa kushoto tunasema we are working with Ruto, na hii mkono wa kulia tunasema we are not working with Ruto. Mungu awabariki.
As those on the opposing camp also returning fire in equal force.
Wewe bado unalia, mimi lazima nikuwe, ukue nini? My friends, let's be serious. ODM is our party. It's not your mother or father's party. Let's be sincere.
The situation forcing the leadership of the party, led by the national chairperson Gladys Wanga, to intervene before the event could spiral out of control.
Tukauliza, what is our position as ODM on these matters of the broad-based and the rest? Na tumesema mambo matatu. Kwanza, tumesema ya kwamba sisi kama chama cha ODM ni chama a distinct party, and we are going to strengthen ourselves because the purpose of any political party is to capture power.
Mheshimiwa William Ruto, sisi kama chama hatuwezi ingia katika UDA. UDA imekufa. Imekufa, imejakufa.
Some of the national officials of the party coming to the defense of the ODM Secretary General Edwin Sifuna, who has been leading an onslaught against the proponents of the broad-based government within ODM.
So Edwin Sifuna, somebody we have full confidence in, and I'd like you at Wananchi to give him full support. As Secretary General what? ODM.
Umesikia baba akicomplain juu ya Sifuna?
Have you ever heard Baba complaining? Have you ever heard Anyang' Nyong'o complaining? Have you heard Wanga complaining?
The recent arrangement with the Kenya Kwanza, which saw 5 cabinet secretaries allied to the ODM party appointed to cabinet, has split the orange into 2, with Sifuna, ODM deputy party leader Simba Arati, and other young parliamentarians leading the no side, while the pro-government honchos, led by the National Assembly Minority Leader Junet Mohammed and the CS for Mining Ali Hassan Joho, leading the other faction. The upcoming AU Commission election slated for next week is set to complicate things further within ODM and promises to widen the rift further should the former Prime Minister exit the local political stage. ODM will be celebrating 20 years since its formation, with the event slated for 28th of this month in Busia County. Emmanuel To, Citizen TV.
Mambo ni kama hayo kwa chama chenye nguvu cha ODM, ambako kuna leo Wanga amesema huko kuna uhuru wa kusema, na ndiposa wanachama wanasema vile wanavyohisi na vile wanavyoona mambo yanakwenda. Mwambie katika vyama vingine unaambiwa cha kusema, huku watu wanasema vile wanavyoona na wangependa chama kiende kwa njia ipi. If there is anything that needs to be done, I think we need to have great political parties for us to have important democratic progress. This cannibalizing of political parties, winding of political parties with every coming elections, it's something that needs to be looked at closely. Even as we wrap up the discussion, we need to think deeply. One of the things that I find very disturbing is how Kenyans are easy in brushing off things simply because, one, they don't understand it, and if they do, they don't care about it. Now, political parties are a very important part of our constitution, and weak political parties result into what we are having right now. Whereby the president has to get a new political party for every elections. And that has a way of making our democracy be weak, because hakuna kitu ya kutegemea, hakuna kitu ya kudumu. Na katika hiyo hali, uongo inazidi. Kwa sababu nitakuja ni wadanganye kwamba mimi ni UDA, alafu baadaye nitabadilika nikuwe ODM, yani nibadilike tena nikuwe kitu ingine. Na katika hiyo hali ni vigumu wewe kunishika na kusema ulisema hili, uliahidi hili, unapaswa kufanya hivi. So political parties are an important part of our constitutional leadership. And like Mama also talked about the young people. Tusijidanganye, Gen Z and the team, we are in a multi-party democracy. Don't write off political parties simply because they have not done well or they have not performed well. If we want to be part of the agenda that will determine the direction of this country and the future of this country, we cannot keep away from political parties. Anaikuambia usiingie kwa political party ama usijiunge na political party, sioni kama anakupenda ama anataka ukue mstari wa mbele katika kusababisha mabadiliko ambayo yatakuwa ya kudumu katika nchi hii. Tumekuwa na independent governors, tumekuwa na independent members of parliament, no doubt, but what has been their impact in their independence? So let's think deeply about this, and as we wish the best, the Orange Democratic Movement, as they go about their celebration of 20 years, and of course restructuring. It's one of the delicate maneuvers that ODM has survived 20 years. We have had so many political parties in between that didn't survive 3 years. So 20 years is something we should congratulate the ODM fraternity for the same, despite their faults, their sins, and their crimes against us. Tuseme mgala muue na haki umpe. ODM imefanya vizuri kusurvive miaka hii yote, na kuonyesha kwamba it's possible to build a vibrant political party in Kenya even when the environment doesn't favor that aspect. All in all, I want to salute every one of you. Mama, kama unala kuongezea ongezee tunapofunga sasa. Asanteni kwa kila moja.
Bernard, chenye naweza ongeza tu kwa political parties. ODM imeweza kusurvive Bernard kwa sababu it is hakuna, unajua hii party ya ODM, it is owned by Kenyans and every corner of Kenyans. Coast ina own ODM, Nyanza ina own ODM, Western ina own ODM, uende hiyo other country all over. So hakuna mtu mmoja anasema hii chama ni yangu Bernard. Machama ingine inaisha because hawana grassroots members. ODM iko na grassroots from ward mpaka top leadership. Hii chama inaanzwa kwa sababu ya siasa Bernard. Tell me another political party in Kenya yenye inafanyanga grassroots election mpaka national level. UDA walitengeneza, they have never had any election in wards, even counties. So ni interim. They pick the difference of ODM, they go through election. Like now, they say 3 people in see what in a village. They have women leader, youth leader, now hiyo watu 10. Those people come to location from and they are elected na wanajuana. So ni ngumu sana kumaliza a party like ODM. Because when the election is, kama kuna grassroots election, everybody is running. Kila mtu anaenda huko chini mashinani. They don't wait hapa juu Bernard. And that is why ODM may survive. And it will survive for a long time. Kwa sababu ukiona election yenye iko na wase, iko na wamama, iko na vijana, wako na vilema, wako na everybody. Kama niliona Bishop mwenye anasema alikuwa South Africa. Yani ODM iko na kila mtu, professionals, they own it. Church people, they own it. Mwananchi ule wa chini, they own it. So hii ni a political party inaenda mbali. And then they believe in the leadership, in the top man. Wana trust baba. Kwa sababu Raila has never say, kwa sababu mimi ninatoka Nyanza, Nyanza ni kubwa, kwa sababu South wherever wanaita. Baba anachoose watu yake. Kama sahi ukiona election yake ya OAU, ukiangalia ile watu wanafanya campaign na baba ni Kenyans. Not one tribe. So hiyo ndiye ODM imesurvive. Kama sasa nasikia unasema Matiangi, hata mimi nimesema Maraga, but listen to what Governor Simba Arati amesema. Amesema tutakuwa namba 1 kwa grassroots election ya Kisii. Kwa sababu wanaenda to the people. That is why we are telling our young people, go to ground. Identify yourself with strong parties. Take leadership from those parties. Na ukuje ucorrect uko juu. Because a political party inataka watu na si pesa. So hata hii sasa unasikia wanasema UDA, it is not there. I was even saying, hata Kashakwa akifoma party today, achatembea Republic of Kenya. Anatengeneza party kwa sababu ya hasira. People will follow you, Bernard, and then ni rahisi sana kuisha. Kwa sababu chama inatakikana iwe kwa roho yako. Beliefs. Manifesto of that party. So sitaki kukuweka, lakini nasema hivi. On 28 unasikia watu ya Pungoma nafikiria walikuwa wamechakua Fort Kenya, yes? Wamelia, wamemwambia baba, we know we did not give you any fort ya mingi, but ameambia baba wasiende Busia pila kwenda Pungoma. There are people coming out ya other political parties. Wanamwambia kuja Trans Nzoia. Tulikuwa na our candidate ya ODM. And that is a lesson they are learning now, Bernard. Wakasema they had a very strong candidate ya ODM in Trans Nzoia. Lakini kwa ile kitu ya Azimio, they sacrificed their people. And then unachakua watu na wametoroka. So it is a great lesson that ODM will not do that. Ndiyo sababu unasikia Gladys Wanga anasema tunachipanga. I agree to them. Hapana kuja sema kwa sababu ati Nyanza tukue kama kuna chama ingine inataka kuingia huko, let the people decide so that ODM can be very strong. So unasikia sasa watu wanasema no, we were lied. Of which election yenye inakuja, people will be fighting for ODM than another party in Nyanza, in even Western. Mudavadi has already amefunga yake. He has no party. Baba wa Roma ndio hiyo yake inatingisika. Hii Wamalwa finished. So the strongest party in Western now itakuwa ODM, and that is why, and I like ODM in one thing. Wawezi sema tuna celebrate ati Nyanza. The other time walikuwa Mombasa. So this time round wanaenda Busia. They are rotating where they are supporters. Hakuna mtu atasema ati mimi ni mwana ODM huko ni kwetu. So if people of Kenya, if the Maraga they really want to be elected, they should associate. Unajua hakuna ubaya ama usuri pena ukuje kwangu, unionyeshe makosa nimefanya, na nikubali tutengeneze. You know these people, if they go to these political parties, na waambie kama ile kijana, alikuwa naitwa nani, Kasmuel. I like him. He said, I will associate myself with ODM, and then I will panga it in the youth link. We will be in there, tutafai tuko ndani. And that is how we need to do. All these other young people, let them agree, their young generation, to go to any party. Fight in that party. Wengine waingie kwa Kalonzo, waingie kwa Martha Karua. Hile parties iko na angalia principle of the party before you join. Ni haya youth. Nafikiria pena siku moja utaweka hiyo mambo ya political parties pila kuchanganya, kwa sababu tunarukia hili tuweze kufunzana na watu. Huyu mama anaitwa Mwawera, independent candidate, Bernard. You cannot survive because you don't have your people in the party. Like now in county, wewe ni gavana peke yako. You don't have every other people are from their political parties. Wakiwa na caucus ya party, hata ukiwa governor. You cannot come to my house because you are a governor and you want to lead me in my party. Nitakufungia nje. Guess what? You are the president of Kenya. And now you are independent. Ikiwekwa hiyo impeachment, you can, unaenda asubuhi hata haifiki saa 4. Because you don't have a room. You don't have a route. Hauna kitu inakushikilia. That is why we have political parties. So the young people who are saying we don't care, we don't mind, tutapatia kura penat, pora tunataka, atoe tu. Unajua pia wanataka kupika kura na hasira. Because they don't observe. Hawataki kujua what is going on. Pora tu wameenda kupiga kura, wanaona Ruto hayuko. Utalete Ruto mwingine, tunaambiwa heri shetani unajua kuliko malaika uchui. Unaweza lete nyoka, kumbe ni nyoka mbaya zaidi, unauliza hey. So we want people 3 years. Na mimi nilifurahi vile nilisikia ODM walisema leo, even though a lot of people wanaona heri they may not even take that seat. They may not even change it. Ama wana change na ile agreement ya inaitwa nini? Wetangula time yake inaisha. Press Port Kaufman walikuwa walikuwa wamefikiria mtu kama Otienda Amolo anaweza chakuliwa not because ni ODM ama ameenda kutoa, kulingana na vile mambo inafanyika. But a lot of people now wanafikiria hapana, tunataka Azimio itoe achukue hiyo kiti alafu tuende election. We cannot do any election as for now, Bernard. Even me, I want it. But ukweli ya kwamba lazima tuambiane ukweli. The 2 years tuchipange. Tuchipange, Bernard. Hili tukue na the right people in IEPC, tutoe Marian, tuweke the right people, tuchipange in political parties, tumalize kama tunamaliza UDA, na guess what? Hata watu watakubali Gachagua akue na kura. Hili wakati watu watatoka, hata yeye akue. Unajua asipokuwa na chama, kura itakuwa block. So lazima ifanywe hivi alafu bas. So me, I am saying this, we have seen a lot. Tuachie hapo, lakini siku moja utulete tuchifunze. Because a lot of people, they don't see it. You need a change, but what change? Unataka change kane? Utoe tu nguo upendue ama nini? Thank you, Kenneth.
So Mami, thank you so much for those insights. We appreciate it. And I want to salute everybody for being part of the conversation. The conversation continues even when we sign out. So please be on the forefront to share the link with as many as possible to partake into this. Help us get more subscribers so that we are growing as a channel. I also want to encourage you, please let us send our support for the channel so that we are able to settle our bills, our internet, whatever broadcasting software payment will be due in the next 5 days. It's 10th, on the 16th, it matures. We need that is the $50 for StreamYard. There is the $10 for the VPN and things like that. So tafadhali tunakuomba tuma mchango wako. Details ndio hizo kwa screen. You can either use the M-Pesa till number 516575 Sound Candy Talk, or use my M-Pesa line +254718 454585. Bernard is the name. And we also want you to be part of the support system of Frank. I promised you that he will be here. So tomorrow show tutakuwa na yeye hapa. Kama uko na swali kwake utamuuliza na atakujibu. Lakini supporti yetu kwake lazima tuisustain. We can now technically say we have adopted him for the next 12 months to secure him his residence and upkeep as we take him through the training that he needs in order to develop the skills he needs to deploy and work with his own hands to take care of his family. So we want you to be part of that journey. We believe that God makes happen to us what we make happen for others. And I don't think we lose much by supporting such a person. He took 6 bullets because of us. I think our gratefulness towards him being on the forefront in the struggle for a better Kenya is to accept the responsibility of supporting him. And I don't think 12 months is too much. So tafadhali, nione hizo M-Pesa zikiingia, na ile mchango ingine, na nimesema unaweza tuma kwa hii, alafu nasema hii ni ya Frank. You just send me a text message or inbox me on WhatsApp. Hii ni ya Frank, hii ni ya Sound Candy Talk. I'll faithfully ensure that that is done. Or you can directly send into the Frank account on PayPal, which is in the comment section. The link is that. Support Frank on this link. You click on the link, you go to the place where you will select, are you contributing for the upkeep? Are you contributing for the schooling? Or are you contributing for the startup for the business? Because eventually we'll need to set up a business for him that he will run for maybe 6 months. We see the stability of it so that when we win him off the support, he will be able to stand on his own and chart the way forward. So tafadhali take these details and let me please, even as we sign out, see some contributions coming in. Let's not go silent. Of course, I've been away for a week or so, being attended to medically, but now please, I need you to support what we are doing so that we don't get that place of shutting down to go and look for the money, then come back. So tafadhali, cheza kama wewe na tumalize haya mambo vizuri. Kama vile nimesema, kesho tutakuwa na Franga papa hapa ili ukamuone face to face, na kama una maswali utamuuliza. Kwangu mimi yes.
Yeah, wale wengine tuko members, are we still members or kunaendeleaje? You let us know. We may relax tukifikiria sisi mambo yetu inaendelea vizuri na kumbe inakwama. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. I'll be giving the update on it. Napasa ku review how the channel is doing, and then I'll give the feedback. But kama umeweka a recurrent subscription, it occurs automatically, so hiyo haina shida. Auhitaji
ku again Bernard, nilifanya wakati hii ya saa hii ilikuwa imenyang'anywa then ukatuambia we go there, so I hope it is still the same.
Ndio nakwambia nitaangalia, alafu kesho nitakupatia verdict.
Okay, thank you.
Lakini sioni ikijibadilisha, na okay, kama labda ile kadi uliweka haina hela, utatumiwa notification.
Oh my God, yeah, thank you Bernard, you remind me. I changed the card, so I will do something. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So, ladies and gentlemen, let's call it a day. Please keep it at Sound Candy Talk and make a difference. Don't just, go through life. Make sure that you are making an impact even as you go through life. Let's hear this as our closing remark. God bless you.
When you start haphazardly registering people from neighboring nations and giving them identity cards, what are you doing to your children? They'll be loaded over by people who are not even Kenyans. This is the danger. We are not looking at tomorrow. We are only concerned about increasing votes for 2027 because we've lost favor with Kenyans. It's that simple. Nataka wa Kenya wafanye research yao. There are some young people from a country that we know around that I'm going to mention. I don't even have to tell you. Who've been going around and selling to us kangumu and coffee. I challenge you today to take your phone and send them money via M-Pesa. They all now have national IDs and they all now have Kenyan names. I want you know them. You know the country they are coming from. Go and try. Who is giving them registration? This is their vote-getting strategy. It's a bad one. And Kenyans are going to resist. And by the way, we will live harmoniously with them. We will stay in peace with them. Lakini naambia wa Kenya wote, ikifika siku ya kura, tuna-identify mtu, tunamwambia kwa heshima, toka tu kwa line. You will not determine for us our president. We know you. We haven't seen you in any primary school in Kenya. You didn't go to any high school in Kenya. You don't even speak Kiswahili. You are saying you're a citizen. We will not touch you. We will not beat you. Lakini kwa heshima, hautapiga kura. That is all. You register them the way they want.
Tunaingia vijijini, mijini na hata jiji.
Welcome to Sound Candid Talk News Special Edition.
Be sure to subscribe, share the video widely, and give it a thumbs up. God bless you. This is the story of Frank Okoth, a 19-year-old Kenyan whose life is nothing short of a miracle and an inspiration. A young man who, against all odds, survived 6 gunshots during the tragic June 26, 2024, Gen Z protests in Nairobi. Frank is an orphan, raised by his aging maternal grandmother after losing his mother at the tender age of 8. He never knew his father, a result of a teenage pregnancy, and life has dealt him blow after blow. Frank and his grandmother have faced unspeakable challenges, including surviving 2 devastating slum fires that claimed everything they owned: his late mother's documents, birth certificates, and school papers, leaving them with nothing to rebuid their lives. Forced to drop out of school in Form 2 due to a lack of fees, Frank started doing manual jobs to provide for his grandmother. But on June 26, 2024, everything changed. During the protests, Frank joined other Kenyan youth to exercise their democratic rights, peacefully demonstrating against unemployment, rising living costs, and rampant corruption. But the unthinkable happened. Police opened fire on unarmed demonstrators, killing over 20, injuring many, and leaving others unaccounted for. Frank was among the victims, hit by 6 bullets, yet by God's grace, he survived. After a series of life-saving surgeries, Frank can now walk again. But the bullets left a lasting impact. He can no longer perform heavy-duty jobs to support his grandmother. In their iron sheet home, deep in the slum, is inaccessible by vehicles. In case of a medical emergency, help is far out of reach. To make matters worse, the slum is plagued by insecurity, with daily cases of muggings and robberies. Despite all these challenges, Frank dreams of finishing his education, learning a trade, and building a better life for his grandmother, the woman who has stood by him through every storm. This is where we need your help. In the short term, we aim to move Frank and his grandmother to a safer home where they can access medical care and live without constant fear. Long term, we want to support Frank in completing his education, learning a profitable skill, and starting a small business. I've faced so much, but I'm still standing. I want to work hard, take care of my grandmother, and make her proud. I just need a chance. You can be the change in Frank's life. Every contribution, big or small, will go a long way in helping this brave young man and his grandmother rebuild their lives. Let's come together and help Frank fulfill his God-given destiny. God bless you. Don't forget to subscribe, like, share this video widely, and stay tuned for more inspiring stories on Sound Candid Talk. Send your donations to Sound Candid Talk, support Frank Okoth account. The link is in the description below. Together, we can make a difference.
Sound Candid Talk Live News.